Till now we have completed the 11 properties of Z transform, and now in this lecture we are going to have discussion on the 12th property of Z transform, that is initial value theorem. And before understanding the initial value theorem in Z transform, we are going to revise the initial value theorem we studied in Laplace transform. And there we saw that if we have a continuous time signal ft having the corresponding Laplace transform equal to fs, and signal ft is equal to 0 when t is less than 0, and also signal ft is not having any impulse or higher order singularities at t equal to 0, we can calculate the initial value of signal ft, that is ft when t is equal to 0 plus, which we can write as f0 plus. This is the initial value of signal ft, and we can have it by taking the limit s tending to infinity as fs. So multiply s to the Laplace transform fs and then apply limit s tending to infinity. You will have the initial value of signal ft. So this is known as the initial value theorem in Laplace transform, and you can see the two conditions which must be satisfied to use this theorem. Now we will move on to the initial value theorem in Z transform. Let's say there is a discrete time signal xn, and this discrete time signal is having the corresponding Z transform equal to xz. Then we can have the initial value of signal xn, that is xn calculated when n is equal to 0. Now here we are not taking 0 plus because in discrete time signals there is no 0 plus or 0 minus, as n is an integer. So we will calculate xn when n is equal to 0, which is x0, and this will be equal to the Z transform xz when limit z is tending to infinity. Now here in this case we are not multiplying xz by z, but here we multiplied fs by s. Therefore you have to take care of this one small difference, and we can use this theorem when signal xn is equal to 0 for all the values of n which are less than 0. So this is one condition which must be satisfied in order to use the initial value theorem in Z transform. Now we will prove the initial value theorem in Z transform, and for that I will first write down the Z transform xz. We know it is equal to summation n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity signal xn multiplied to z power minus n. Now according to the condition, xn should be 0 for n less than 0. Therefore we can write down the summation with a new range, n equal to 0 to n equal to plus infinity. Signal xn multiplied to z power minus n. Now when n is equal to 0, we will have x0 multiplied to z power 0, that is going to be 1. So we have x0 plus when n is equal to 1, we will have x1 multiplied to z power minus 1, plus when n is equal to 2, we will have x2 multiplied to z power minus 2, and so on. After this we will take the limit z tending to infinity on both the sides. Therefore we have limit z tending to infinity xz on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we will have limit z tending to infinity inside the bracket x0 plus x1 multiplied to z power minus 1, which I can write as x1 over z. Similarly we have x2 over z square and so on. Now when you put the limit z tending to infinity on the right hand side, you will have x0 plus x1 over infinity. In place of z we will put infinity plus x2 over infinity square, which is infinity, and so on. And we know when we divide some finite value by infinity, we are going to get 0. So all the terms will become 0 except x0. Therefore, finally we are having limit z tending to infinity xz equal to x0. The same thing we have here. Therefore, we can calculate the initial value of this signal by taking the limit z tending to infinity, the z transform of the signal whose initial value we are calculating. So remember this important property, and now I will end this lecture here. See you in the next one.